Hello, dogs and dogettes and salty dogettes and soties and saffas and jaffas and whoever you are from wherever you're watching. Tell us in the comments where you're visiting us from. Here is the long-kept secret Potjie course recipe. I've explained in the intro what Potjie course is, but this recipe, as I said earlier, won me the best Potjie course competition at university many moons ago, 2 years in a row. So this recipe has never ever been shared. So here we go. Eventually, at my half a century, I am sharing this. So what we've got here, depending on how many people you want to cook for, it all depends. You can up the quantities, lower the quantities. I'm cooking for 2 to 3 people here. So that is what this is all based on. So as you'll see, I've got some lovely lamb neck from my local butchery. There's 8 pieces of lamb over there, 50 grams of butter. But if you don't want to use butter because of the price of it at the moment, you can just use normal canola oil or grapeseed oil, whatever you feel like. Then we've got a handful of fresh green beans. We have got 2 courgettes. We've got some red, green, and yellow peppers chopped up in the back over there. And then we've got 1 medium-sized onion. If you like your onion, you can add more onion. Or if you get baby onions, you can use a number of baby onions in here, but I'm just going to do 1 onion. I've got 4 medium-sized potatoes. If you don't have these little size, you can go bigger, but then just slice them smaller for your pot. Then I have got some carrots. Yes, they are frozen, but these are my frozen carrots. I bought a whole lot of carrots. We'll still get to that episode to show you how to actually freeze them. But I've pulled them out of the freezer. You can see nice and frozen, cheap, no preservatives, nothing to it. Then let's move over here. You will see I have got a teaspoon of mixed herbs, a teaspoon of crushed garlic. You can either use fresh as well or dried. Then I've got a tablespoon, ginger. Then we've got a tablespoon of garlic, crushed already. You can use fresh, but get about a tablespoon of garlic. A teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of coriander seeds, a quarter teaspoon heaped of paprika, a teaspoon of mustard seeds, and then a tablespoon of mixed or allspice. Then we will add some freshly ground black pepper. That will be about a teaspoon or so, just depending on how strong you like it. If you don't have the ground one, use the powder, or you can use white pepper. But with the lamb, I just find that the black pepper works. Then I have got some soy sauce. I have got a tablespoon of soy sauce over there. And then I have got a quarter cup of malt vinegar that I've got in there. So what we're going to do now is, as I've explained, we're living on a boat. I don't have the traditional Potjie, but I will show you what it looks like. But I'm just going to use, for those who don't have a Potjie, I'm just going to do it in a normal, either Kiewel pot with a lid or my Dutch oven pot. I'm going to use my Dutch oven pot because that is cast iron and that is the closest that I'm going to get to using a Potjie. I'm going to make it on the stove, gas, but you can do it on the coals. You can do it on the gas outside, and you can do it on a normal conventional induction or normal electric stovetop. So the trick of this whole thing is not to ever mix anything. So what we're going to do is we are going to heat our butter. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of salt. Besides the salt there, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt over that. I'm going to sear my meat so it becomes a little nice and brown. Once it's seared, I am just going to remove it from the heat very quickly. Then I am going to add a little bit more either butter or oil. And then I'm going to take all these ingredients over here, except for my liquid. And I'm going to add it to it, and I'm going to fry it up quickly. I am just going to just take the back of my knife, and I will just crush the coriander seeds open so they can just bring out the flavor. And then I'm going to fry that up. I'm going to then add my meat back to the whole mixture, and then I'm also adding the onion in at that point in time. Fry my onion with that. And then the trick is add your vinegar, add your soy sauce, and then we will probably use a cup or two of hot water, and we're going to add it to that so the meat is nicely covered, and we're not going to cook the meat covered for about an hour on a very low heat. So about an hour on a very low heat. Then we're going to get back. We're going to check if the meat is starting to get a little bit tender. If the meat is getting tender, then we know we can start adding our other ingredients to it. As I said, don't mix your ingredients. A potjie is basically layers. So we will then go and add our potato. And I'm just going to slice the potatoes in half. We are going to add the potato on top of it. Make sure that the potatoes do not touch the sides at all because it can cause burning on this low heat. Then we are just going to turn the heat up slightly just to bring it a little bit to boil. It's going to sit on top of the liquid. If we need more liquid, we'll add a little bit more liquid. We're going to pop our carrots on top of it, and then we're going to cover it, and we're going to set it for about 10 or 15 minutes. That is just going to sit covered. We're going to get back, check to see if the potatoes are starting to get a little bit soft. When that is done, we're going to cut this. I'm going to slice these a little bit smaller, or you can leave them big like this. Add our green peppers, red peppers to the recipe. Then we are just going to take our green beans, which will be lobbed and tipped, and we'll just cut them in half, or you can leave them whole. Basically pack them on top. And then the same with the courgettes. Just slice them, pack them on top, and then we are just going to cover it. Make sure there's enough liquid. We're going to taste for the salt. We're going to taste for pepper to see if we need a little bit more seasoning. And then we're going to cover it, and we're going to then just let it sit on a low, medium heat until the potatoes, carrots, and the beans are well cooked. Again, do not stir to mix it, because the trick with the potjie is it needs to be in layers. So it will be your meat, your potatoes, your carrots, your green beans, your courgettes on top. And that is basically it. So let's move over to the stove so that we can actually get all these ingredients in and get going. Alright, so just to show you, this is my cast iron Dutch oven pot. Very well used. So that's what I'm going to be using. But as you can see, you could also just use a normal non-stick on crust steel. So there we go. We want to get the pot really warm. So what I do is I just put it on for a few seconds. This is got chucking the hot meat. I have got my crocodile paws and ribs. Really, really good. I think I've got this spotlight. $2, but really makes a huge difference. Okay. I can feel the side so the wall always be very careful. Then yourself. Just going to pop it. Break it into the box. My custom milk. And while the butter is melting, I'm just going to put the top of it. Okay, the butter is now getting nice and melted. Now I'm just going to add, take a little bit of salt. A little bit of salt. And then I'm just popping the thing. Obviously, if you're using the proper Potjie pot, it's a little bit bigger, so you can actually put more meat in there. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to pop the meat on the side there, because you'll see how we will be turning it. Just go boom, and fingers. Yeah, so I'm just grabbing my trusty tongue, moving it around, just giving it a little bit of a turn. I'm just going to do one side. Do a little bit of a rotation so we can see a little bit of the brown going on the meat. You see when I can put it on the side like I'm doing there, that is picking up the heat in the pot. So now I'm just going to take this, it's over and above the using the salt, just a little salt so it can just get into the meat and just flavour it, and also just helps to seal the meat. Okay, just put it on the bottom. Now, I hope the sound is a little bit better. I've now got my microphone, so let me know. Sound should be a little bit better. I'm still playing around with it to get the right spot for everything. So there we go. The meat is starting to brown. So what I'm just going to do is I will then just pop into the side of the jug. Come off that. Going a little bit brown. It just looks better when you cook the meat brown a little bit, and it also just helps to seal in the flavour. Okay, I'm not going to waste your time with browning all of these. I'll see you once they're all brown. Okay, putting the last two out. On the side. Yeah, now I'm just going to turn the heat down because you don't want the heat too much. And I'm going to add all these lovely spices, salt, paprika, all of it. Oh, paprika smelling divine. Mustard seeds. The mixed spices. The herbs. Garlic. Ginger. I have just spilled some of my vinegar. Hold it on, don't worry. Reading a little bit about it, don't worry about it. Just let it through. Bring out the flavor. I'm just going to pop the lid on, and then I will quickly crush the coriander. Now what I just do is I just take the side of my knife, just on top of the coriander, just crush it open a little bit. I just want to break the shell so we can get those lovely coriander flavor coming out. My onion is sitting ready on the side, so let's quickly lift the lid. You can see why I put the lid on, because it just helps the steaming and it doesn't dry out and burn too quickly. Let's add the coriander. And so here we've got our coriander and our onion. Stir through. Okay, now we're going to add our soy sauce, and we're going to add our vinegar. Now all of those little bits that started browning at the bottom is coming loose. Now we're just going to take our meat and we're going to put our meat back into this. Oh, I wish there was a smeller later so that we could actually smell how beautifully this smells. The juices that's left over from there, just pour it back in there. I know I said we don't stir, but the meat we've just got to stir through so we can just get the flavors going through. So I'll just get a good old stir. But once we start putting the vegetables in, that is when all stirring ends. All through there. Oh, brings back the good old Carefree University days. I'm just going to turn the heat up a little bit for about 2 minutes. Alexa, timer 2 minutes. My trusty assistant.
Good afternoon, Werner. 2 minutes, starting now.
She's so polite. We just want to bring the heat up. I've got about 500 mils of warm water here. You can add cold water to it, but it just shocks it a little bit, and we just leave it. Okay. Now, I'm going to add my black pepper.
Grab my shades and hit the streets, no plan. Chasing vibes like seashells in the sand. Radio
About half a teaspoon, all depends on how much spice you like it. I like a little bit peppery. Just give it another stir through. Yeah.
Toss it in my bag. Today's for us, no time to lag. Feel the world just turning slow. Let the breeze tell us.
You can see the meat has shrunk now a little bit, so it starts to become a little bit into the pot. And now to add the liquid. Now just pour it around the edges.
Concrete warm under my bare feet. moving like a heartbeat.
And the reason why I pour it around the edges is because the edges actually are a lot warmer. So it's about 500 mils of water in there. So let's just have a look. Just want to make sure. Alexa, stop. There we go. That's my 2 minutes. I want to make sure that I've got my meat. So it's all just. Hold it. Just do that. Starting to boil up heat. I need a little bit more liquid in this, because also the reason why I just start with 500 is because you do not know how much water is actually in the meats. And I'm going to start by adding just about another 200. There we go. That was about 250 mils of additional water that I added in there. You can see the color that this gravy has got. That is now just going to sit very subtly and just in a low heat boil away. I am just going to grab a spoon. I just want to check. Absolutely delicious. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. We'll do a little test later to see if we need to add a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper. It all just depends on how salty or how little salt you actually like in your food. I'm going a little bit more moderate. As South Africans, we do like our salt in our food, but it's entirely up to you. So here we go. Now I'm just going to let it sit. Pop the lid on. You can see it's just starting to boil. Little bubbles popping up there. Steam is starting to come off. Pop the lid on. Turn the heat right down, literally to its lowest that you can go. If you're in an electric stove or induction, I would say put it about a quarter down from its lowest, but just check it. It mustn't keep boiling, and we will just come and check on this in a little bit to see how it is progressing. What I normally do as well is I will move this over to my smaller burner, because that also just helps me to control the heat a little bit more. So let's go and just move this over to my small burner. Where's my crocodile? Oh, crocodile. Move it over. Let's see, spilled a little bit of vinegar there. And just have a quick look. Here we go. That's all you now need. Alexa, set timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Thank you very much. We will see you in about an hour. Okay, my salty dog friends, here we are, ready with doing the rest of the meal. Hope you guys can see. Look how beautiful it's bubbling away there. So now comes the trick. What we need to do is we are going to add our potatoes face down. Excuse the noise in the background, it is just, we've got quite a bit of wind here this evening. There we go. So we just get our potatoes in, let's get them nice face down. The meat is already getting nice and tender, as you can see there. So lovely and tender, so by the time this is done, the meat will be lovely cooked. So now I'm just going to add the green peppers, the extra flavour. And you see, I'm not stirring anything now. Nothing needs to be stirred. Just going to rest the carrots on top. Right. Squeeze them ever so slightly. They just rest. Now, don't stir this at all. We are now going to put the lid back on and we are going to turn the heat up and we are going to set the timer for 15 minutes and then we will be back with this. So there we go, reset the bubble, lid on, 15 minutes, we'll see you. Okay, and with our potjie we are going to do some rice. The trick with the rice is a cup of rice, just or two. So for every cup of rice you use, you'll use 2 cups of water. So every cup, 2 cups of water. So let's repeat this guy. Okay, I've got the water in there. And now I'm just going to add some salt. About a teaspoon of salt. And now the trick is with this. Put a lid on and bring it to boil. The minute it boils, turn the heat down to its very lowest heat and set the timer for 10 minutes. Don't lift the lid at all. Okay? So, bring to boil with lid on, turn the heat down the minute it boils, leave it for 10 minutes, then switch it off and the rice will be perfect, not burned at all. Okay, 15 minutes have passed. So I just lift the lid and then I'm literally just going to put the baby marrows, courgettes, just on top. Just on top. See, no stirring whatsoever. And then on top of that, we'll go our beans. Literally just on top like that. And we will just do a quick little taste to see how the seasoning is. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. No need for anything else. So now we're going to put the lid back on. And we're going to put it back on the heat for another 20 minutes and it's cooked. Okay, salties, soties, here we go. The rice has been for 10 minutes, turned down. You can see no burns, no fuss. Just give it a good little stir, nice and fluffy, just to break it all up. There we go. Now, all we do is just pop the lid on and you can just sit on the side there and let's quickly have a look here. we go. Just gonna grab this, nice and tender. Carrots already, and you see I'm not stirring at all. I'm just looking for the potatoes just to see if they are ready. Yes, the potatoes are lovely and soft as well. There we go. No stirring whatsoever. So now when we're going to be dishing it up, we'll do it layer by layer. So we will start with our rice, and then we'll put our vegetables, and we'll work our way down to the meat at the bottom. Don't stir this at all. And I just want to do one little last test to see what it is. Any seasoning needed. Oh, yeah, absolutely no seasoning needed whatsoever in this. And I'm just letting it sit now. And now what you can just do is just turn the heat down, have another drink or two, and it will stay nice and warm. And then when you're ready to eat, you can eat. So I'll show you once I've dished this up. See you soon. And here we go. We've had a small little drinky or two, and now we're ready to dish up and had a little bit of a catch up of the day. And now we're going to be dishing up this lovely potjie kos that we've got over here. So let's start with our rice. Let's get the crocodile. I'll just dish up one plate so you can just see what it looks like. Crocodile is lifting. Oh, beautiful. Now, we're going to do some sampling so we can see what we're doing. Start with some green beans. Go with our bacon arrows, more sheets. See, I'm just going in layers. Just going in layers. Carrots. Then I'm going to get some potato. And then I'm just going to go and get some yummy meat from the bottom. Look how beautiful and tender the meat is. Absolutely beautiful. Lovely, lovely lamb's neck. Let's put on the rice. And then we just take a little bit of this gravy and it just goes over the rice. I wish you guys could actually smell this. So let's just have a look here. There you go. Absolutely piping hot, steaming deliciousness. So that is the end of the potjie kos. Speak to you guys soon. I'm definitely going to have a great tummy full now.